everyone, welcome to Seth Leroy Adventures, and today is more of the get to know you series. It might go on for a while, but the topic for this one is my favorite fish, my top 5 favorite fish to catch and why. Let's start it off with number 5, okay? Number 5, carp. Now, in Minnesota and most of the states, you know, in overseas, these are sought after fish to catch, right? Not as much over here, right? Now, for me, there's so many reasons why I like catching carp, dude. I hadn't caught a carp my whole life until I'd say about 2 years ago. I believe that was 2 years ago. It might have even been 3 years ago. But anyway, so I went out. I'm like, you know what? Let's just try this. Let's just go for it. Let's throw some corn on. Let's just see what happens. I hooked into one. And I could not believe how fun that catch was. I think I only had 5-pound test on too. And caught one, threw the corn back out again, caught another. Super fun catch, super active. I don't know why, like because I'd see them in the water and stuff and I'd be by them and they just seemed lethargic to me. I'm like, man, these things couldn't fight. But my nephew, he lives up in the Brainerd area and stuff. Shout out Aaron. He used to always tell me, oh, dude, carp fishing. I'd be like, dude, carp fishing, you know. I didn't fish rivers as much for anything other than, you know, smallies and largies and northerns. But I finally did it and I was hooked that year for a little bit. But then this year even, there's vlogs on it. And those vlogs do really well because they're so big in other countries. But just carp after carp after carp. One weekend I think I caught 10 carp. This is a while back, but it's just I got to experience how fun they are, and I think they're pretty actually. I mean, they're not the cutest fish, but they're, you know, and that's why I think too in the States they're not as sought after. People think they're ugly and just whatever, and they're bottom feeders and they're evasive. I mean, and just all these negative connotations about them are just a big deal in at least our states. So getting really into them and seeing how fun they were to catch, that's why they are number 5 still on the list. But I do love catching them. My daughter just poured a bucket of water. But yeah, I absolutely love catching them. They're so much fun, and that's why they are still on the list, number 5. Number 4 on the list, come on, it's the Minnesota northern pike. Okay, now in Florida I did catch one pickerel, and you know, my brother-in-law was like, oh my god, you got a northern down here, and then we found out later it was called a pickerel. They're a smaller breed. But anyways, let's get back to the northerns. I love catching northerns. They remind me of a barracuda, freshwater barracuda. They're so cool. They were even on River Monsters, right, Luna? Yeah. I believe he was fishing in Wisconsin for those, so you know they're cool if River Monsters is going for him. So yeah, northern pikes have always been high on my list. Number 4 is still high on my list, trust me, because I could have done a top 10. Maybe eventually I'll do that. But yeah, northern pikes, I like their aggression. I like even late in fall you can really get them. They're just so tough. They're BA. I mean, let's be honest. You know, they're apex in there. Ain't nobody messing with them. And I love the way they fight. They'll pull you directly down. They're going for the weeds. They're going for whatever way it is to make it so hard for you to catch them. And that's why it's funny. I'll be catching 34, 35 inches. People are like, oh my gosh, that's huge. And I'm like, what? I mean, I'm going for 38, 40. And all those 38, 40s that I've caught have been fun. It's probably my biggest is about a 40 incher. I don't really measure them a lot. I just more eye them. But usually, yeah, I'd say about a 40 incher is my biggest. Definitely want to catch some bigger ones one day. But yeah, northern pike are number 4 on the list for all those reasons. Number 3, largemouth bass. Beautiful fish. Their mouths are dope. I mean, they're such a fun catch. And they get so tubby. You know, they're just so rounded. And now I know I haven't caught, my brother-in-law caught a huge southern one. I've caught some southern ones, but I have some pretty big ones, but nothing as big as what he caught one day. But our northern largemouths, they're beautiful too. Gorgeous, clear water, clean looking fish. And they're just a fun catch. They're easy to unhook. They're fun. They also are a solid fight, especially those tanks. They're beasts, dude. I really like them. So that's why number 3 for them largemouth bass, okay? Number 2, smallmouth bass. Now, largemouth and smallmouth, those are pretty neck and neck with me, but I am going to go smallmouth bass. I like the symmetrics of their body when you're fighting them. So to me, here's my personal beliefs, and if somebody else can comment if they agree or if they've ever noticed this. When you're fighting a smallie versus a largie about the same size, a smallmouth bass for me is going to give me a better fight. I just feel like it's the symmetrics of their body. It's that they're more flat. They're not, I mean, trust me, I catch tanks that are tubbies, but still, it's just, I feel like it's the shape of their body why they're such a good fight. And they're pretty. They're vertical stripes. They're just a pretty fish. I catch less of them, so that could be for why too. Some years not though. Some years I go off just as much as for the largemouth, but I just have more fun with them. The craziest smallmouth I ever caught was in Big Lake, central Minnesota, because I know there's a big lake in northern Minnesota, but I caught a smallie in there, and I had been fishing that lake since I was 5, you know, and never had even came across one, so that blew my mind. So that was one of probably the craziest smallie, but that's why number 2 is smallmouth bass. My daughter just gave me this bouquet of leaves. I love them, Luna, but now we're gonna go to number 1. What is the number 1 fish for me to catch? My number 1 sought after fish to fish for, and why? Ready for this? Muskie. Now here's what's gonna even blow your mind more. I've caught 1 muskie in my life. I went for 2 months, 2.5 hours a day a couple years back, like 3 years ago. 43-incher, fat, just huge. There's videos of it beating my ass I was on my redneck paddle boat. It broke my reel. I had to pull them up by hand while netting. Just an insane catch for my 1 ever. I had 1 other follow this season, a couple months back. That was awesome too. Like just the intensity of looking, and he was probably about a 50-incher. Just that intensity. I was in a kayak, so he was right there. So if I would have got him on the kayak, that would have been crazy. But yeah, muskies are number 1, and that's why I said that. I've only caught 1, but when I'm on a lake, and if the potential of catching a muskie is there, the intensity level is just boom. I mean, there's no contest of any other fish to me. But I don't obsess over them. Because that one time I obsessed for like 2 months going for them every day. That was during when I was going, I think, to CDL school. I can't remember. But, oh, thank you, Luna. But the intensity of just trying to get one is like more than like catching a bunch of fish all day. It's insane. It's so intense. So that's why muskies are number 1 for me. And I thought that was funny to say too when I was making my list. And I'm like, well, they're still number 1 to me. My number 1 favorite fish to fish for. And the reason why is the intensity of just and how rare they are. I know people that have talked to me online and in real life that have fished for them on and off their entire life. These dudes are in their 50s or 60s and haven't caught one. So me catching that 1, even when I went out 2 months for like 2.5 hours every freaking morning, even just catching that 1, I guess, is insane. Not insane. I know there's people that go out and just catch them, and that's what they do. Even when you get a follow, it's intense. Like just, it's the difference in that. Oh, I had 1 other follow. That was when we were at a lake up north. So I've had 2 follows and 1 I've caught. I forgot about that follow. And that was the first time I seen one. I was like, he's blue, because I don't really fish a lot of musky lakes. But now that I know there's one about 35 minutes from my home, that's why I go there. I went there this year a lot, and I only had the 1 follow, but then I finally stopped and started going to normal lakes again and rivers. And now I've had to be off for a while, but it is what it is. That's why I want to do this Get to Know You series. But yeah, that's my top 5 list. Yeah, so that's it for this one. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. Just glad you're rocking with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. And we live in the land of 10,000 lakes, so what are you doing? Go fishing. Comment below your top 5, or just comment below in general your favorite fish to fish for. Everyone have a blessed one, and oh yeah, keep fishing.